Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. So can you imagine trying to get kids ready for this whole digital world, but you don't even have a computer yourself?
Yeah, I can see how that would be tough.
That's the reality for a lot of teachers in Rwanda, but things are changing.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what we're looking at today, this program they have called One Laptop Per Teacher.
Interesting.
We've got this article from back in August 2021 that we're using as our main source, and get this. The government there has already handed out 11,000 laptops.
Wow, 11,000. That's
Sounds like a lot, right?
yeah.
But there's a catch.
Uh-oh, what's that?
There are more than 88,000 teachers in Rwanda.
Oh, okay. So not quite one per teacher yet.
Yeah, so they've only hit about 12.5% of their goal.
Huh. So what's the holdup? Is it just a matter of, like, getting more laptops out there?
That's what I was wondering too, but it seems like there's a lot more to it than just the hardware.
Right, because it's not like just handing a teacher a computer is going to magically make them a better teacher.
Exactly. And our article makes it clear that the Rwandan government wants to use these laptops to actually improve the quality of education and make it more equal for everyone. They even have a quote from the Minister of Education saying the laptops will, and I quote, help to reach the quality and equity of education services.
Okay, but what does that actually mean for teachers in the classroom?
Yeah, it's pretty vague, right?
Yeah, it is.
Like, what are teachers actually supposed to do with these laptops?
Exactly. That's what we need to figure out.
Well, the article goes on to talk about how training is a huge part of this whole thing. They've got this program called Continuing Professional Development, or
Oh,
CPD,
CPD. Okay.
and it's all about giving teachers the skills to actually use these laptops effectively.
Makes sense. You can't just give someone a tool and expect them to know how to use it, right?
Totally. It's like, giving someone a scalpel and saying, all right, go perform surgery.
Yeah, you need some training first.
Exactly. So in a way, this CPD is kind of like the surgical training in this analogy.
I like that. So what kind of things are they actually teaching in this program?
Well, from what the article says, it's pretty comprehensive. They cover online teaching, basic computer literacy, lesson planning, basically all the skills you'd need to integrate technology into your teaching.
Oh, wow. They're even teaching online
I
teaching.
know, right? I thought that was interesting too.
It is, especially since we're talking about getting laptops into physical classrooms.
Right. But I guess even if a teacher is in a traditional classroom, knowing how to teach online is pretty important these days.
Yeah, definitely. You never know when you might need those skills.
Plus, think about all the online resources that are available now. Teachers need to be able to find those and use them effectively.
Absolutely. So it seems like Rwanda's thinking ahead with this training.
For sure. And they're definitely taking it seriously. The article even mentions that teachers have to sign an agreement to take care of these laptops.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so, it makes you wonder, what happens if you spill coffee on it, right?
Yeah. Right. Or what if it just stops working? Do they get tech support?
That's a great question. And I think it highlights how important ongoing support is.
Definitely. It can't just be a one-time thing.
Right. It's got to be a whole system where teachers know they can get help if they need it.
Yeah, you don't want teachers to be afraid to use the laptops because they're worried about breaking them.
Exactly. Okay, but let's back up for a second. Imagine you're a teacher and you've never really used a computer before. What do you think would be the hardest thing about getting one for the first time?
Oh, man, for me, it would be knowing what to do with it. Like, I can turn it on, but then what?
Right.
All those programs, troubleshooting issues, figuring out how to do the things you need to do.
Yeah, it can be overwhelming, and that's exactly what this CPD program aims to address. They're not just teaching software, they're building that foundation of basic computer skills.
That's smart.
And get this, they even train teachers to then go on and train their colleagues.
Whoa, that's a great idea. Like a chain reaction of computer literacy.
Exactly. It's a pretty clever way to spread those skills throughout the education system.
It is.
Yeah.
But let's be real, not every teacher is going to be thrilled about having to learn a whole new set of skills.
Okay, sure. And the article actually quotes a teacher saying, using technology while teaching needs many things, but the most important thing is having basic computer skills at your fingertips.
Which makes it sound like a pretty big challenge.
Totally. Because not everyone is starting from the same place when it comes to technology.
Exactly. Which is why this CPD program is so important. It's about meeting teachers where they are and giving them the support they need.
Makes sense. But that brings up another question, right? How effective is this training in the long run?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Like, are we seeing teachers actually using technology more effectively in their classrooms? And what about the students? Are they benefiting?
Those are the million-dollar questions. And that's where we'll pick up in the next part of our deep dive.
Sounds good. We'll see if this program is really living up to its goals.
So we've talked about how Rwanda's really put in a lot of effort into training their teachers.
Yeah, for sure.
But is it enough? That's what we're trying to unpack now.
Right.
And remember how we were talking about that online teaching being part of their CPD program?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not just like a random thing they threw in there.
Oh.
It kind of shows that Rwanda's thinking about the bigger picture of education, you know?
Wait, really? How so?
Well, think about it. Even in a normal classroom, like not online, teachers really need to have digital skills these days.
Yeah, that's true.
They've got to know how to find stuff online, create digital materials for their classes,
Yeah.
maybe even teach remotely sometimes if they have to, right?
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean.
It's like they're getting teachers ready for a future where tech and education are just like totally intertwined.
Makes sense.
And that CPD program, it's not just about knowing how to use the computer either.
What else is it about then?
It's about lesson planning, different teaching strategies, all that.
Oh,
Because, technology is just a tool at the end of the day.
right.
The real skill is figuring out how to use that tool to actually help the students.
So it's not about replacing a good teacher with a fancy computer or something.
Exactly.
It's about making sure teachers know how to use that tech to benefit their students.
Yeah. And I think that's what Rwanda's trying to do, combining the tech stuff
Yeah.
with the teaching stuff so that teachers feel like they've got this,
So they're not overwhelmed.
empowered, not overwhelmed.
Right.
But, we've got to be realistic too. No program's perfect.
Yeah, for sure.
Even with the best intentions, there are always going to be some hiccups along the way.
So what are some of the problems they might run into?
Well, the article talks about resources, which is a big one.
Resources like what?
Even if you've got the laptop, you need a reliable internet connection, up-to-date software, tech support when things break.
Oh, right.
It's like you get this cool new laptop, you're all excited to use it, and then boom, no internet.
Yeah, that's super frustrating.
It is. And these infrastructure challenges can be even tougher in rural areas where internet access is really limited.
So it really is about more than just giving out laptops, huh?
Yeah.
It's about making sure the whole system is there so that teachers can actually use them.
Exactly. It's not just on the teachers either.
What do you mean?
The Ministry of Education's got to be involved, tech companies, even local communities.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It takes a village or a whole country, really, to make this work.
That's pretty impressive, even though it's complicated.
It is. And the article mentions that they're not trying to do it all alone either.
Really?
Yeah, they're working with groups from other countries and learning from places that have done similar things.
So it's like they're leading the way, but they're not afraid to ask for help and learn from others?
Exactly. And that's something to think about. For anyone listening, wherever you are, what can we learn from Rwanda's experience?
That's a good question.
Here's a country facing a ton of challenges, but they're facing them head on, and they're really dedicated to helping their teachers. So what does that tell us about the role technology can play in making education better?
Yeah, it makes you think.
It really is about more than just the devices themselves. It's about using them the right way to make things better for everyone.
Here's another thought. How do we actually measure whether a program like this is successful?
Ooh, good point.
Is it just about counting how many laptops get handed out?
I don't think so.
Or is there a better way to figure out what kind of impact it's having?
That's a great question, and it's something we'll dig into in the last part of our deep dive.
Okay, cool.
What does success really look like for the one laptop per teacher program, and what can we learn from what Rwanda's doing? So we've seen what Rwanda's doing with this program.
Yeah, it's pretty ambitious.
It is. But now I want to throw this out to everyone listening. Why should we care about what's happening over in Rwanda? What does this have to do with education in general?
Yeah, that's a good point. It's easy to think, oh, that's cool, but it's over there.
Right. But here's the thing. Even though this is happening in Rwanda, a lot of these challenges they're dealing with are things we're seeing everywhere.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Like, think about it. Education budgets are tight pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
It's hard to find enough good teachers,
Mm-hmm.
and we've got to get our students ready for a world that's constantly changing, right?
For sure. It's a lot for schools to keep up with.
It is. And a lot of times people think, oh, technology, that'll fix everything. But we're seeing in Rwanda that it's not that simple.
Right. Just giving everybody a laptop isn't going to magically solve all the problems.
Exactly. And that's what I like about what Rwanda's doing. They're not looking for a quick fix.
Yeah, they're really trying to do this the right way.
They're focusing on teacher training. They're building up their infrastructure. They're thinking about the long term, not just the right now.
It makes you think, what if we use that same approach for other challenges in education?
Right.
Mm.
Like, how could we apply that kind of thinking? And it brings us back to that question of how we measure success.
Yeah, we were talking about that before.
So how do we know if this program is actually working?
I mean, I guess it goes beyond just how many laptops they hand out.
Definitely.
So what are some ways they might be trying to figure out the impact this is having?
Well, the article doesn't go into too much detail about that, but I think we can make some good guesses.
Okay.
Like, are teachers feeling more confident using tech in their classrooms? Are students more engaged and excited about learning?
Makes sense.
Are we seeing better test scores? Things like that.
So it's about looking at the bigger picture.
Exactly. We got to look at the long-term effects, not just what happens right away.
And that's important for anyone who's interested in changing education for the better.
Yeah. Real change takes time and effort. It's not something that happens overnight.
It's about sticking with it.
It's about finding solutions that are going to last.
So I think this whole one laptop per teacher thing in Rwanda gives us a lot to think about.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's really cool to see a country taking on these big challenges in education.
And it's working with technology in a way that's really thoughtful.
Exactly. And even though the program's still going, it's already teaching us some important lessons.
So here's one last thought for everyone out there. What are some other ways we can support teachers?
Yeah, what can we do to help them as they're navigating this whole digital world?
And how can we make sure that technology is being used to make education more fair for everyone?
Those are the important questions we need to keep asking.
And we've got to keep looking to places like Rwanda for inspiration.
Definitely. Because they're showing us what's possible.
All right, well, that wraps up our deep dive into Rwanda's program.
Hope you enjoyed it.
And until next time, keep on learning, keep on asking those tough questions, and keep diving deep.